we are going to have a look at what happens in the pelvic area and with the pelvic muscles during the vaginismus response fear cycle. And to explain that, we're going to just have a look at an illustration that I'm going to bring up here for us to look at. And we can see here a side view of a woman lying on her back. I hope you can see my little arrow here. Whenever it sort of blinks, this is what I'm talking about. So we can see the woman here lying on her back. We can see the partner. This is the penis of the partner. He's trying to penetrate into the vagina, but he can only go in a little bit. It's like 1.5 to 2 centimeters, because there's a block here. The vagina is sort of closed off functionally. Of course, it's not completely closed off, but the muscle contracting here acts as if like a closure of the vagina. We're going to have a little look at the anatomy. We can see here at the front, the top part of the clitoris. This is the labia, the labia that we can see in the vulva area. We can see here the urethra. The urethra carries out the urine from the bladder to the outside. We can see here the vagina leading up and backwards, and we can see here at the top of the vagina the uterus, which is either tilted forward or in some cases tilted back. And we can see the anus and the rectum behind the vagina. We can see here the tailbone and the spine. What we can see here, this is very important, this is the muscle, the PC muscle that contracts during the spasm in the vaginismus fear response cycle. So we have the fear response cycle, and part of that is the muscle reflex in the pelvic area. So what happens is that these muscles, now it looks as if it's just one thin line, but it's in actual fact there are different sort of U or V-shaped muscles that sort of sling around from the top here around the vagina and back up, and some that sling around right down to the back of the rectum area and back to the front. And so what they do is they pull up and they squeeze and they pull up, so making a bend in the vagina, which acts like a wall. So many men trying to penetrate into the vagina actually do describe that as the feeling of hitting up against a wall. Now, why does it feel like that? It's because we know anybody who's had like a muscle contraction, a spasm in a muscle in your leg after sports, for instance, you'll know that the muscle tightens up and is really hard. And this is what happens in the pelvic area, that the muscle, the PC muscle, pulls itself together and spasms and is really, really hard. And so men pushing up against it will feel it's like pushing up against a flat surface or a really hard surface. And a lot of men describe this as a wall. So this is what happens during vaginismus. Let's have a look at an animation we have here. And in this animation, this is a side view again, and we can see here this tube is supposed to represent the vagina, and here we can see the U or V-shaped muscle, the PC muscle that wraps around the vagina, and of course up here the urethra, which we can't see right now. And if we were to look in from this side here into the vagina, we would look here and we'd look into the vagina and we would see here the muscle here. So this we will see changing as we see this pulling up. And in a moment we'll see a dilator trying to enter the vagina. And it's the same sort of thing that happens when a penis tries to enter the vagina, that we see it's coming up and it's pushing against the muscle area and trying to get in. Let's have another look at that. It's pushing and it can't get in. Here's the wall. If the wall relaxes, if the muscle relaxes, the penis or the dilator would be able to enter the vagina. But the thing is, what happens mostly is as soon as somebody tries to push into the vagina and feels there's like a wall there, they're going to retract, they're going to stop pushing. And this spasm can last for a long time. This is animated, so this is a picture of what happens in a fast mode. So here we see the muscle relaxing and the dilator going in, which is in effect what happens later during the exercises you do. Let's have another look at that. Here we see the dilator coming, the muscle pulling up, and of course when this happens, nothing can enter the vagina. So that's a little explanation of what happens during the muscle reflex.